Today's video is brought to you by Partreon supporter Muffins. Muffins came to me with an interesting question. He's got a very strong Breya Etherium Shaper deck, but he's worried that his deck isn't as strong as it could be. He wanted to make sure that the deck had as many artifacts as possible, so that Breya could sacrifice them as needed. He wants the deck to be powerful, but not full CEDH. After further discussing it with him, we decided that the best bet is to have a deck with about a 10-card sideboard, which he can use to lower the power level of his deck from high down to medium, depending on his playgroup. Muffins also requested that any suggestions for his deck weren't super expensive cards on the reserve list, so any reserve list cards that you see are ones he already owns in his current list. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. I've been very happy with the growth this channel has had so far, and I'm excited to see where we're going. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Dana. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Breya Etherium Shaper is a 4-mana 4/4 legendary human artifact creature. When she enters the battlefield, you create two 1/1 blue Thopter artifact tokens with flying. You can then pay 2 generic mana and sacrifice 2 artifacts to achieve one of 3 effects. The first lets you deal 3 damage to either a player or a planeswalker. The second gives a creature -4/-4 until end of turn. And the third gains us 5 life. Okay, so we want a ton of artifacts that we can sacrifice, plenty of card draw to make sure we can get as many artifacts onto the battlefield as possible, lots of mana to cast those artifacts, and some graveyard recursion. To start, I wanted to take a look at Muffin's deck list as it stands and see what we're working with. But before we do, we should keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Okay, so looking at Muffin's list, I see that we've got 37 lands but only 12 pieces of ramp. However, we've also got 25 pieces of card advantage, 3 board wipes, and 1 of them is an artifact. Only 8 pieces of interaction, counting our commander, and lots of alternate win cons. We've even got some graveyard hate in Echo of Eons and Nihil Spellbomb. However, what we're lacking is synergy. We have lots of powerful artifacts, but not a ton of combos. We could also use a bit more ramp. So those are the 2 things we're going to be focusing on, synergy and mana ramp. So for the new deck list, let's start by looking at our card advantage. For wheel effects, we've got Memory Jar, Midnight Clock, Wheel of Fortune, Windfall, and Echo of Eons. For graveyard recursion, we're running Mirror Retriever, Scrap Trawler, and Emery, Lurker of the Loch. Our tutors consist of Enlightened Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, and Oswald Fiddlebender. We've got the Reality Chip and Sunbird's Invocation, both of which offer us huge amounts of value and extra cards. Finally, our card draw package consists of Skullclamp, Esper Sentinel, Jeska's Will, Joyra Weatherlight Captain, Urza Lord High Artificer, who is basically a win con by himself, Vidalcan Archmage, Universal Surveillance, Of One Mind, and Thoughtcast, both of which should only cost us a single blue to draw 2 cards. For mana rocks, we're running Mana Crypt, Mox Opal, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Azorius Signet, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, Orzhov Signet, Izzet Signet, Boros Signet, and Liquimetal Torque. For making treasure tokens, we've got Dockside Extortionist, Storm the Vault, Smothering Tithe, and Brass's Bounty. To go with all those creature tokens we'll be making, we have an Inspiring Sanctuary. Expedition Map serves to help us fetch out artifact lands, or whatever land we need at the time. We also have some artifact cost reducers in Enthusiastic Mechanaut, Etherium Sculptor, Foundry Inspector, and Joyra's Familiar. Finally, a card I have fond memories of, Metalworker. For lands, we're running Command Tower, Mana Confluence, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, Power Depot, Spire of Industry, Academy Ruins, Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, Marsh Flats, Polluted Delta, Scalding Tarn, Blood Crypt, Godless Shrine, Hallowed Fountain, Sacred Foundry, Steam Vents, Watery Grave, Ancient Den, Great Furnace, Seat of the Synod, Vault of Whispers, Drossforge Bridge, Goldmire Bridge, Mistfault Bridge, Razortide Bridge, Rustvale Bridge, Silverbluff Bridge, 2 islands, 2 mountains, a plains, and a swamp. Our interaction package is a little light. We've got a wonderful stacks piece in Aethersworn Canonist, Teferi's Protection, Anguished Unmaking, Generous Gift, Vandal Blast, Cleansing Wildfire, and Geomancer's Gambit. Both Cleansing Wildfire and Geomancer's Gambit can be used to target our own indestructible bridges, drawing us a card and letting us ramp out a basic. We may be light on interaction, but we do have Cyclonic Rift, Supreme Verdict, Austere Command, Cleansing Nova, and Damn as board wipes. Finally, the core of our deck. Saheeli Sublime Artificer and Sai Master Thopterus both make more than enough tokens for us to sacrifice to Breya. Tezzeret Master of the Bridge and Marionette Master both serve as alternate win cons. Time Scythe can easily give us infinite turns in this deck. Academy Manufactor is great in this deck with all of our treasure generators, also giving us a ton more artifacts to sacrifice. But the cards I'm most excited for in this deck are Paradoxical Outcome and Aetherflux Reservoir. We cast Paradoxical Outcome, putting all of our mana rocks or other permanents back in our hand, and draw a ton of cards. We then recast all of those permanents, gaining us a ton of life through Aetherflux Reservoir. Then use our Death Star to win the game. So let's take a look at how this list compares to our checklist. 56 mana sources split between 34 lands and 22 pieces of ramp. A little heavy, but with all the cards we're drawing, it's fine. 23 pieces of card advantage. 7 pieces of spot removal, a little light, but 1 is in our command zone, so it's fine. 5 board wipes, 1 piece of graveyard hate, 2 alternate win cons, and a 2-card combo that can win us the game out of nowhere. So our deck checks all the boxes and is powerful. Not quite CEDH, but still strong enough to hold its own at most tables. But I mentioned earlier that I wanted to be able to tone the deck down. This way, Muffins can play the deck at a lower powered table. Fortunately, all of the replacement cards are ones he already owns. To start, we're swapping in Light and Tutor for Mana Drain. I know that seems counterproductive, but Mana Drain is only situationally powerful, while Tutors are always powerful. Next up, Demonic Tutor gets traded out for Counterspell, and Vampiric Tutor becomes Sword of the Meek. The Reality Chip gets replaced with Swan Song. Time Scythe is now Hangerback Walker. Paradoxical Outcome is now Thopter Foundry. Oswald Fiddlebender, another tutor, gets replaced with Phyrexian Metamorph. Dockside Extortionist is now Mirrodin Besieged. Aetherflux Reservoir, one of our win cons, gets taken out for Duretti, Ingenious Iconoclast. And Urza, Lord High Artificer, one of the most salt-inducing cards in Commander, gets replaced with Duretti, Scrap Savant. If you wanted to go one step further, you could cut all of the fetch lands for bond lands, or Innistrad slow lands. Removing tutors is the single easiest way to power down your deck. Without them, the deck is much weaker, and you will be less consistent. With these changes, Muffin can easily play Commander at more casual tables. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I post new Commander deck videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Damon.